This episode of WTW Today is being sponsored by All-Star Vacation Home, and if you're planning a trip to Walt Disney World, want a little extra space, want to have some more room to spread out, want to have your own swimming pool, your own kitchen, your own bedroom for everybody, why not? All-Star Vacation Homes can deliver that to you for a fraction of the cost for the same kind of room space if you were going to rent out a Disney World room. So why not give them a try? Visit them online, www.allstarvacationhome.com.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Friday, March 13, 2009, and this is episode 538 of WTW Today. I'm Matt Hatcher from Studios.com, and joining me on today's show is Len Testa, co-author of the Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World. Len, yet again, it is Friday the 13th. Are you scared?
Didn't this just happen like last month? How'd that happen?
You know, it's Friday the 13th. It's just eerie and... You know.
It's not Groundhog's Day. That's so weird.
Also joining us on today's show is Mike Scopa, a senior feature writer and blogger for AllEars.now. Welcome, Mike.
Doubt is the rust of a feeble mind.
Doubt
Hall of
is the
Presidents.
Doubt is the rust of a feeble mind.
I got nothing.
This is a good one.
doubt is the rust
Of a feeble mind.
Sometimes you hear things and you say, I've heard that before. This would not be one of those cases.
Doubt is the rust of a feeble
American
mind.
Adventure? No?
Now, this is not a current attraction. That's a hint.
Splashtacular?
Is that what you always guess?
Oh, man. He's not even here and you're taking a shot at him. No, it's from Alien Encounter. It's the president of XS saying, doubt is the rust of a feeble mind.
Chairman Clutch.
Wow.
That's right.
Also joining us on today's show, once again, back for another show, it's Superfan99, Fred Hazelton, head statistician for the Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World. Welcome back, Fred.
Hey, thanks.
He's already jaded being back on here, eh?
Glad to be back, Matt.
There you go.
It's a real pleasure.
There we go. That's the kind of guest we like. On today's show, we're going to be talking about some of the conclusions that Len and Fred came to on their previous research trip. All last week, in fact, Fred and Len were hard at work. They really were. I saw them. Collecting data and kind of testing out some theories at Walt Disney World in a annual Unofficial Guide research trip. And so, Len, what kind of conclusions have you reached based on what the research that you were doing?
Walt Disney World is a big and complicated destination, and you should buy a guidebook before you go.
Well, that's it for us today, if you want to find out.
Yeah, thanks very much.
So, talk to us a little bit about what you found this past week.
So I had done research on offsite hotels. So I actually spent different one night at a different hotel every night. So I was checking in and checking out of resorts on a daily basis, which is always fun. It makes you feel like a combination of Saddam Hussein changing palaces every night and some on the road drifter, which is good. My first night, which was Tuesday night, was the Days in Orlando at 5858 International Drive, and apparently 5858 is like the number of millimeters that you are from International Drive. I was a little metric joke there. They don't make very many of those. I was maybe. Well, let's put it this way. My room was so close to International Drive, and
how close were you?
I was so close that as trucks would drive by on International Drive, the window in my hotel room would shake, would vibrate. Wow. It was that noisy. And the only thing that saved me from being up all night because of the traffic was that I stayed up all night because the air conditioner was like super noisy, and it was cold, so I had to have the heat on for a little bit. I mean, this place was I would definitely not recommend it.
Do you think, Len, if you had your window open, you could catch a bus without actually touching the ground?
I could have hitchhiked from my bed. Exactly. Could have just stuck me. I mean, it was
Savannah
clean.
view.
It was clean, which was fine. Here was the other interesting thing, right? So, I'm a big fan of the curved shower curtains in the bathroom. This one had one, but it was broken, so that instead of hanging out, like a circle, it was hanging like
down?
a giant U shape. Yeah. So I had to.
The peekaboo shower.
I had to hold it up with one hand because otherwise the shower curtain would slide towards the middle, right? Because it's U-shaped, so it would slide down. So actually, I had to hold it up with one hand, and I'm thinking to myself, if they don't care enough to fix it, why do I care whether water gets on the ground, right? And the other thing was that there was no hot water, which I cannot stand a cold shower in the morning. At night, I mean, I'm married, so I totally understand that. So, but yeah, in the morning, cannot stand a cold shower. And it was 47 outside. I was taking a cold shower. It just wasn't good. So that's coming off the recommended list.
Okay.
The second night actually was really good. I was also on iDrive, but this time 2 blocks in the opposite direction. It was at La Quinta at 8300 iDrive. Oh, by the way, the Days in Orlando was $42 a night. The La Quinta was $53 a night, but it was fabulous actually. It was clean, everything worked. It was comfortable. The pillows were excellent. The beds were very good. Water pressure was good. Hot water. I mean, everything clean. $53 a night. La Quinta at 8300 iDrive, absolutely fine. Oh, and I also got a pool facing room. This hotel also faces iDrive. But I got a garden facing room here. Made all the difference in the world. So I would definitely recommend asking.
Glenn, you're mentioning some hotels on iDrive here. Now I'm familiar with hotels that are on US 192. How does iDrive compare in terms of the area around it? Is it? I mean, in terms of did you feel safe? Did you feel? I mean,
Oh, yeah,
feel
yeah.
like you could walk around? Is there a lot to eat over there or do?
Yeah,
or see?
so it's actually I think it's ever so slightly more upscale than 192. But I would definitely feel safe, walking around it. But it's still, it's your combination T-shirt joints and chain restaurants all up and down
Right.
192. But I think it's a little bit more upscale than 192.
Okay.
How was the traffic up and down iDrive?
It wasn't bad. It was getting there like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, so it wasn't there like on a Saturday at 7 p.m. when I know it can be bumper to bumper. This wasn't bad at all. I was about 17 or 18 minutes from Walt Disney World on these, so it's a little bit farther out. But but for the price I paid for the La Quinta, $53 a night, I could be convinced to stay there again.
Oh yeah.
The third night I was back on 192. I was at the Roadway Inn main gate, 5995 West Arlo Bronson. So on 192, $35.22 a night with tax.
Wow.
I know. Actually not bad. So the first hotel was a dump. Second one was really good. This one was somewhere in the middle. It's exactly what you would expect for $35 a night. It was clean. Bed was comfortable, although it was I think even smaller than a full size bed. Everything worked. Nothing was particularly noisy. It felt safe. Absolutely fine for $35 a night.
Now,
absolutely fine.
I know that was it the roadway line. I know you mentioned to me that there was an issue, and I believe it was the roadway about a resort fee.
All right, it was. Oh, that's right. Very good point. So the roadway when I checked in so it's $35 a night, right? And when I checked in, they informed me that there was a $3.70 resort fee, and I didn't ask to see what it was like. It was like midnight, so I'm not asking what the resort fee's covering. But essentially, it was like 10% of the cost of the hotel in a resort fee, and it was. Oh, by the way, so going back to the Days Inn, the lock in the safe at the Days Inn was drilled out, which is just totally another story that I'd love to hear. So. Yeah, but the roadway, yeah, and it's okay. It wasn't great, but again, for $35 a night, actually for $35 a night, I'd probably stay at the Super 8 on 192. Somewhere in that price range. That's closer to Walt Disney World, and it's a better deal.
Interesting. All right, now Fred, you did some research on this trip.
I got one more. The fourth night,
Sorry.
I stayed at the Quality Inn Suites Eastgate, which is even farther down on 192. And this is like getting way down. This is in the 4900 block of 192. That was just under $70 a night, $69.41. Totally not worth it. I mean, it wasn't as good as the La Quinta. It was a pretty far drive actually. Room was nothing spectacular. Grounds were nothing spectacular at all. I think there are definitely. I mean, $69 a night. You're talking about All-Star or Pop Century rates at that point, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I wouldn't recommend that either. And my final night I stayed at the Dolphin, which was more expensive than all the other rooms that I stayed in combined.
Not surprising. Now let's jump into the parks literally here. Fred, you did some research at the best theme park in the entire universe, Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Well, by far, of course.
Of course. Talk to us a little bit about what you did over there.
Well, I was doing laps around the studios, trying to get a handle on the effect of the now staggered Fantasmic shows during the week. We've been getting a lot of reports from our readers of the guide and online that the crowds are crazy busy when there's a Fantasmic show. So up until now, we had not really tried to quantify this. So I knew that I wanted to spend my 4 days in the studios trying to get an assessment of it. So we did this, and it was actually quite interesting. We were there for the first 2 days. There was no Fantasmic show, and we saw peak waits at Toy Story Mania around between 70 and 90 minutes. And then on the Fantasmic days, which were the Wednesday and the Thursday, the Wednesday was there were, first of all, both Wednesday and Thursday were much more crowded than the previous 2 days. But the Wednesday was much more crowded than the Thursday. So it seemed that in a sense, the number of days that the studios goes without having a Fantasmic show will increase the impact of having it. So, in other words, yeah, I was actually kind of surprised to see that. My instinct going in was that I was going to see crowds build kind of late afternoon into the evening as people kind of hopped to the studios to catch the Fantasmic show. But it seemed that no, that the entire park was more crowded from the morning on. It was up peak times around 110, 120 minutes on the days when Fantasmic shows were there, which was quite a lot. But it's interesting that you're much better off going. You would have been much better off going on the second day when there was a Fantasmic show the night before.
Well, that's a great.
So it's almost like if you've got a certain number of days where there's no show, that first time that the show is offered, it's going to be the bigger crowd.
Absolutely.
So this is something that I'm going to have to work into the crowd calendar somehow.
Okay. Well, one thing I just want to quickly mention is that I ask all of our listeners to email Disney and complain that there is no Fantasmic shown every single night of the week. There should be. And certainly, if there was, it would make all of our lives easier in terms of trying to plan trips to Walt Disney World.
This is sorry, Matt. Just want to say something else there. This is a really interesting problem for us because it's the first time that we've had to take into account something that's of a high value in the touring. Like, there's no doubt if we were going to tell you what's the best day to go to the studios. Well, of course, don't go on a day when there's a Fantasmic show. Mm-hmm. But people want to see Fantasmic. It's a great show. We have it in the guidebook as something that's not to be missed at the studios. So how do you go about trying to recommend days to go when the crowds are low, but then you also want to be able to recommend days when there's going to be a Fantasmic show. So it's an interesting challenge.
Hey, Fred, have you ever noticed, I'm not sure if this would have the same impact, but I know that in the past, SpectroMagic would not be running every night. Do you have any data, Len, that says that when SpectroMagic is performed only certain days of the week, that on those particular nights, Magic Kingdom wait times are much more longer than they normally would be?
That's a great question. I was just thinking that.
Yeah, there is. We have that as part of our model for predicting crowds. Actually, the biggest indicator is the hours that the Magic Kingdom is open, but the number of SpectroMagic parades is also an indicator. There's about a 2 to 5% increase in crowds for each SpectroMagic show that is there. So there is an effect, but it's much smaller. It's much smaller than this Fantasmic thing that we're seeing.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Len, what other conclusions did you draw from this trip?
Well, we had dinner at Turf Club, which I know you had recommended before. I can't say that I agree. I don't think it was anything.
See, we had two different experiences. I was on one end of the table, and
yeah.
You
So
were on
first
end.
there was dinner. It was dinner for 14.
Yeah.
Hey, he likes Star Wars weekends too, doesn't he?
I didn't like it at all. I thought it was. I thought the menu was limited. The food was just okay.
See, you had a completely different experience from where we were sitting down here at our end of the table, and everyone within earshot of where I was sitting had remarked that they enjoyed their food. That they, I think the strengths of the Turf Club are they have wonderful appetizers, they have two really good items. The prime rib is my favorite entree that they have over there. The steak, the New York strip steak, I enjoy. I know that Bob Selinger, who was there, he's a as I labeled a steak diva.
Steak
Diva.
But I think for us normal folk who just enjoy a good tasting steak, I did see his point. But I mean, I enjoyed it. His point was that they tried to do too much with the steak, and he doesn't like steaks where they're doing too much. When they put crab meat on it, or they had at the Turk Club they had this blue cheese, which I admittedly told him I do not enjoy, and always ask for it on the side because they drown it in it. But when you do that, I enjoy the steak quite a bit. So, I mean, those are things I enjoyed it, but it's interesting that you guys just didn't enjoy it quite so much over there.
I had the chicken, which I mean, the chicken was cooked fine. The problem was it was covered in this like I guess it would have been it was a sauce, but it was really, really, really cooked to the point where it was thick, more like a syrup, and it was really sweet, and it was hard to get. It was hard to get past the sweetness of the sauce because it just coated everything and sort of, covered your tongue and made you desensitized to the flavors of the chicken. It did come with risotto that was really interesting. It was a garlic and onion flavored risotto. It tasted like a really good potato chip, but with rice. And it was hot. I mean, it was like temperature wise, it was very, very warm, which I like hot food like that. That was good. The bread was okay, but overall, I mean, it just wasn't. It didn't look like anything was done with, with the right amount of attention to detail, and I don't know.
It's probably because Chantal was cooking for you all week, so that
totally, and I was totally spoiled
in comparison.
That's right. I mean, Chantal cooked easily the top 3 meals that I had that week.
Well, Len, we'll have to agree to disagree, even though you're wrong. Any last comments, Len or Fred, that you want to make from the trip? Things that just quick things that you noticed, perhaps.
We'll have a ton of stuff later on, but see if Fred has anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna post something on my blog about the Fantasmic data.
Okay, cool. So
about the studios for
yeah,
sure.
So check out the touringplans.com blogs over there. That Fred writes one of them over there, so definitely check that out. Gentlemen, thank you for your research. I know it was hard work, but somebody had to go eat at Turf Club and really go through every single appetizer, entree, and dessert.
I would say the appetizers were pretty good. I would stick to just appetizers. That's actually a great point. The calamari was very good. Actually, all the appetizers were good.
Yes, the onion rings are my favorite appetizers over there. The onion rings and the
bruschetta was really good.
Yeah, the bruschetta is also very good. But the buffalo chicken nuggets we enjoyed also.
I only had one, so yeah, okay.
Very good. Well, that's going to do it for us today. Oh, yeah, one more thing. Almost forgot. Fred, you attended Cirque du Soleil La Nuba. I think
That's right, yeah.
That translates in French to boring?
Oh, definitely not. No, you know what? There is no translation. I asked Chantal. I don't think it means anything. But, yeah, I think to make up for the fact that Chantal had to cook all week for us, and she was happy to do that, by the way, but, I mean, who wants to cook when they're on vacation? Right. I convinced Bob and Len to send us to La Nuba on the last night to quote research the show.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. It was just fabulous. I mean, if you're like that kind of thing, I know Len is not a huge fan of clowns and scary things.
I'm with Len. I've never seen it, but it leaves me. I have zero interest in seeing it. It does not appeal to me one bit. But Mike, you've seen that before, right?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's I always tell everyone that when you see the price for La Nuba, you say, "Oh my God, that's too much money." But then when you go and you come out, you say, "Oh my God, was that worth it?" And I also tell them that they need to make sure that they have enough intestinal fortitude to hold off making any library stops during the course of the show, because if you miss anything, whatever you miss, you're going to miss something really incredible. So I think it's well worth the price.
I would totally agree. I would also agree that the price is a little bit scary when you look at it. You think, man, it's the same price for a day pass at a theme park. But I guarantee you're not going to leave saying it wasn't worth it. You can't. I think it's
surreal. It really is.
Even Bob said this. It's one of the few pieces of entertainment in all of Walt Disney World that gets very, very little criticism. People just like it, but you haven't seen it. I guarantee if you saw it, you would like it.
Well, the one thing, the price point, I had told my wife that you and Fred, you and your girlfriend were going to go see it, and her response was, "Wow, that's going to be expensive." But yeah, I'm sure one of these days I'm going to see it. It's just not anytime soon. Maybe when I don't know, when I have my lobotomy, I'll go in there and check it out.
Sugar Rich, when you've done everything else.
Well, this episode of WDW Today has been sponsored by All-Star Vacation Home, and while they don't have Cirque du Soleil and Nuba in their All-Star Vacation Homes, they do have something pretty close, and it's many of their wonderful amenities, like your own movie theater room in there, your own private pool, your own kitchen. It's a full kitchen, by the way, not just a glorified kitchen, a real full kitchen that anybody, including Chantel, can cook at. Lots of great amenities. Check them out. Visit them online at www.allstarvacationhome.com. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your copies, visit the WDW Today website at WDWtoday.com. For Mike Newell and Freddie Wilson, I'm Matt Hotchberg. We'll see you on the next show.